All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we are doing Eyes Wide Shut, 1999. We got all of us here today. Let's get right into the movie info. After Dr. Bill's wife, Alice, played by Nicole Kidman, admits to having sexual fantasies about a man she met, Bill becomes obsessed with having sexual encounters. He discovers an underground sexual group and attends one of their meetings, and quickly discovers that he is over his head. This movie is rated R for nudity, language, and some drugs. And it grossed in the US 55 million. The runtime is 2 hours and 39 minutes. Came out July 16th,
Long ass
1990.
movie.
Very
Yep.
long.
What'd you guys think? Oh, hold on. Let me give out the scores real quick. 76% critic score and a 74% audience score.
You
Kind of
still
surprising
got-
scores.
Now,
Before
Really?
is Brian
we
still
have-
chained up? Do you still have him
Yeah,
locked
so
up?
I have
Hang
Brian on a
one sec.
leash.
1 second. Can I ask what was the ratings when it first came out? Because I know this was not taken well.
Yeah, I think that's why they're low.
Is
Is
that,
I think that's why
is
they're-
that I'm assuming that's just now.
Yeah, so
though,
all the
right?
critic scores, the 76% critic scores, are from the 90s.
Oh, okay. So then,
And the
is there,
audience
like-
scores is over 100,000 people rated it, and it's 74%. So I think
I'd love to
I
see
think
a
the low
graph
scores.
of the scores over time.
Yeah,
No,
'cause this
they
movie
were
is
down
pretty
and
much.
then went up.
It's like a cult classic. It's become loved over the years. So this is Aiden's recommendation. We should really harp on that. And
Wow.
really harp on that. Yeah, surprisingly, this was Aiden's recommendation. Anyways, Aiden had
It's a
seen
great
it.
fucking
Brian
movie,
had
man.
seen it. Me, Andrew, and Mike had not seen it. But there's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of like underlining things. So before I let Brian off his leash,
Keep him
Andrew
chained
and
up.
Mike, what did you guys think about this movie?
So I absolutely had no fucking idea what I was getting into when
The real question is, Mike, how many times did you pause this movie?
I had
Not nearly
absolutely-
as many times as you, Aiden.
I had no
Took me
idea what
3
the
days
fuck
to watch this movie.
I was getting into when I seen this movie. To be honest with you, I was just telling these guys before we started recording. I'm glad I didn't watch this with someone else because, for obvious reasons, it would have made me very uncomfortable. I think
There's a lot of nudity in it.
But I don't even know like what score to give this. Like, I know we're far before that, but like I don't even know what to think about this movie. Like it definitely like it kept me entertained, and not because of obvious reasons, but just because of like the actual story. Like it's suspenseful. Like it was. It was
keeps you-
enticing.
It's a thriller.
It was
That's what
enticing.
it
It
is.
keeps
Thriller,
it
yeah.
keeps you
Thriller.
entertained because you have. I mean, as you watch this movie, you get like to the call it second act. You are so confused on
Yeah,
what
well,
the
that's so
fuck
much
you
shit
are
going on.
That's one
watching.
thing that really is I want to talk about. I was so confused for like 70% of this movie that I don't know. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like when he was getting the tux and like the two Asian guys and his daughter, like that makes no sense at all. Like what was
So,
the
I mean, I just want to add like my 2 cents because when Josh was reading the description of the movie or the whatever
Synopsis.
before
Synopsis.
synopsis, you said that he becomes obsessed with sexual interactions.
Yes.
But then again, I mean, I feel like it's not even that he becomes obsessed. I guess you could say when he goes to the secret society like that, he becomes obsessed. But
You
I
guys
feel
think
like
there's an
everything
actual
just
secret
it just
society?
everything
Yeah, bro, are
lands in
you
his
fucking
lap.
stupid? Of course there
You
is.
know,
I'm
like
saying
Alright,
all these
well-
interactions just somehow happen to him. It's not like he goes out and looks for
Well,
them.
so Aiden, have you seen YouTube videos or anything on this?
I've seen a couple.
Okay, I figured you did. Okay, so which is fair because I looked up some too. So before we let Brian off his chain here, because this
Yeah.
movie does, like we said, has a lot of conspiracy theories. Now you can watch this movie and think everything they're telling you is straightforward, right? I watched the movie and I believe most of it's in his head. Now Brian does not believe that, and I don't think the rest
I
of you
don't
do.
believe that.
I
I
believe
mean,
half. I believe
Well,
most.
that's a different take that you can take on the
It is a
movie.
different take, but and I'm gonna say this: I thought it was when I started watching the movie. I was 20 minutes in, and I was noticing some things, and then by the end of it, I came to the conclusion in my head, and I thought I was like, because I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't know anything about this movie before seeing it, and I thought like halfway through it, I'm like, I wonder how many people have like their own theories on this movie and how crazy it is. And I had no idea until the end of the movie. I'm like, oh, this must be crazy. I looked it up. It's insane. There's icebergs on how many conspiracy theories there are on theories of what's real, what's not. And
Well,
Well, I
what you
wanna
have
stop
to
you-
remember is it's a Kubrick film, and Kubrick
Yes.
is known for every single fucking thing in his movie is there for a fucking reason. And that's where it opens the window for these theories. Now, what makes this different compared to like The Shining is that this is something that's like kind of real. Like this is kind of him being like,
It's very
haha,
realistic.
hey, I've been around the Hollywood elites. This is kind of what the fuck goes on.
Yeah.
And he introduced
He was
you to
also a
that.
horny motherfucker, but we're not gonna
Well,
talk
yeah, but again, though, what you have to remember is that fuck, I don't know if I'm off my leash yet,
You can
but
go ahead. You can get off your leash.
but
Yeah,
like
let him off.
that's like one of the biggest things that's talked about when it comes to politicians and high power. Again, this is all conspiracy, guys. I don't believe any of this.
Hey, Brian's
Um,
background is so dark, so it's just gonna fucking come.
Yeah,
out.
dude.
Still
I'm just gonna
bad.
see a red
You
laser
see a
through my
fucking
window.
bag, yes. Fucking dude's just standing in the corner of his room right now.
We'll
waiting
still
for him to say
upload,
one
don't
thing.
worry.
But no, like as far as it goes, like in real life, the idea is that they do have these parties, that they do have these sexual orgy type parties, and what's wild is
I'm going to one this weekend.
yeah, exactly.
I said I might run for office. I haven't been invited yet.
Now what makes it even worse
You have to
is
be in
that
office.
we're probably going to talk about it at some point, but before Kubrick died, he wanted like an additional 25 minutes added to this film, and he got in a dispute with Warner Brothers about it. And miraculously, Kubrick died a week before the movie came out, so Warner Brothers was able to make
4
the
months.
cut.
And he had his final cut, didn't he, Brian? Just
Yeah.
without the music, really.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, is he's known for fucking tweaking things like days before.
Days
it's
before,
due.
yeah.
So it's like it could have gone any way, but no, they got into the dispute about it, and miraculously, anyone that had saw that final cut, the 25 minutes were gone. And really, what it came down to was
That's strange.
what it comes down to though is like these parties, yeah, if you didn't catch on, they're like younger women and they're all old dudes. But like in real life, what he was gonna imply, it's like it's heavily speculated what he was gonna imply, because again, no one has seen the 25 minutes, is that they were gonna emphasize that these were kids. And that's another big thing when it comes to the conspiracy world. They say that politicians and higher power people and
That's really gross.
they fuck kids. And the proof comes down to
Oh wait, I'm gonna run
now.
for office. That's
Well, now
somewhat gross.
what comes down to it though is in real time, everyone now knows who the fuck Jeffrey Epstein is. Beforehand, that
I was
wasn't
gonna
really
say,
exposed.
man.
And now, like, what's crazy is we're recording this in a time where that's known. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail after Epstein suicided himself. Let's call it that. Or you could say
Shame he
got
killed
suicided.
himself.
Yeah. I don't think he suicided there. But then Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested for it, is in jail for it, and they won't release the list of
I was gonna say,
anyone
I
that
don't think she's
visited
in
the
jail right
island.
now.
No, she's still in jail. They just won't release anything about it. And that's
Well,
what's
it's-
crazy.
they
for,
can't.
like, they could. They won't because they're probably all on the fucking list, dude.
But they can't.
That's
Like it's
they
against
can't.
the law.
Everyone's on the list.
No,
man.
it's not because she got arrested for it. It's not against the law.
Yeah, I
It
don't
should
think
be
that's against the
common
law.
knowledge to
Well,
release.
that was a bad phrase for it, but like it was not like in the agreement. Pretty much, it was the agreement that like
Yeah, and they made that agreement because all these high-powered
It
people
saved
would have
their
been on
asses.
this list. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I know.
So,
I'm not saying
and
it's
not
right.
coming down.
I'm
to,
not saying
like,
it's right.
Yeah, it's not. They're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. No, they're literally covering themselves, and that's what's crazy about watching this movie now. When I watched it originally, all that shit was like known, but there was no faces and no fingers to point. Versus now, again, Epstein got suicided. Ghislaine Maxwell is locked up, and we have no list of anyone on any of the flights that visited the island. No permanent list. Like
It all started when MJ died, in my opinion. But
that's a whole can of worms.
Yeah, don't open him on that. Let me throw him back on his leash. Yeah, and I mean, we should talk about like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, who were married at
Oh,
the time.
Were they married?
They're
they?
married. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
Can
now
I
she's
ask
married to
why
Keith Urban.
we're chaining up Brian? I feel like that's not.
We're not
Well,
changing anyone
because then
up,
he
man.
brought up
speech.
MJ, and now he'll just that is a whole nother can of worms, and
I'm
I'll
off
debate
this
with him on
chain,
it.
dude.
And,
No, I mean, from like, I mean, dude, there's so much that happens in this. Like, what is it? 3 hours long?
2 hours,
2
39.
hours,
2 hours,
40
30 minutes, dude. It seems like a
30
long
minutes.
ass movie, man.
This
But
does
by
seem
far,
like a long
like
movie.
one of the best scenes, in my opinion. One, it's terrifying when they're doing that
The
scene with the
ritual?
Gregorian chant.
Yeah.
Like that scene alone,
You know,
like
it's
you
wild
just hear
too.
that.
Like, that's actually a Masonic temple that they filmed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there could legit, like if they needed extras, there could legit be Freemasons in that crowd,
Yeah,
and we wouldn't know because
exactly.
they're all in masks.
But that's the
Well,
craziest. Like that's one of the best scenes in
Why
my
you gotta
opinion,
say
just
that
because
shit, bro?
you have no idea what's going on, and that's when the movie completely takes a 180, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the actual fuck is going on?
Going
right
Bro,
now?
on.
what's
And
Yeah,
then
funny
it just
is
but-
continues.
no. What's
But
funny
look-
is I stopped the movie right when they were in the temple,
Mhm.
and I stopped it last night because I got tired and went to bed, and I woke up and I watched it from that exact point.
Terrifying.
I
Oh
was
no!
I
So
was
you
like,
would have lost sleep if you were to
You
fucking
probably had to
watch it
double
through,
check
man.
if you're still watching the same movie.
bro, I was like, all right, dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm tired. This is creeping me the fuck out. I'm going to bed, dude. I was like, I'm good right now.
Well, I mean, it's like so crazy. Like, I mean, I hate to skip like through so much of the movie because that's like what the last hour and 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, which is
Like-
crazy. I forgot that it took him so long to get to that moment.
Yeah, and I mean, you like it's just cool how the story like ends up. And like I said, you said he becomes with like sexual interaction.
Yeah, so
But
let me
realistically-
explain that really quick,
Go ahead.
okay? So
You're an
after
expert,
his
right,
wife,
Josh? You're
Yeah,
an expert
Josh is an
you're-
expert on
You're an expert in
sexual
sexual interactions.
Well,
I
after-
want to hear.
I'm a professional. After
Congrats on the
after
sex.
he has the most intense conversation that you can have with your wife, he then begins to spiral out of control. He's in the cab, going to visit his patient that just died, and he's envisioning his wife with that man that she's having fantasies about, right? And it keeps replaying in his head. And then he meets this daughter of his patient that died, and she comes on to him as a sexual encounter.
Damn.
And then he goes to take a walk, and then he runs into that prostitute who
Mhm.
he has almost a sexual encounter with, and then he goes to get the costume, and he sees the young daughter with the two Asian men, and then he goes to the actual sexual group and encounters them too. So it's a whole night of sexual fantasies
You
that
gotta
he's
remember,
playing out.
He's getting those flashbacks of his.
Yes, and
not
it-
Dude,
and
when
those
she
times-
goes on that monologue, and
dude,
she's
it's so
saying-
good, man.
But
It's
I was
crazy.
I
It
mean,
just
that was
came out of
crazy.
nowhere,
If someone
dude.
told me that, I'd be pretty fucking
Dude,
torn.
but that's
Let me
the
say
thing
something
is-
real quick.
Go
So
ahead.
I didn't really think of it being like a fantasy, like in his head, until you just said it in terms of his patient and that
Yeah.
that patient's daughter coming
And
onto him.
Mike, they're all redheads. All these girls he's running into are redheads, which is what his wife is.
That
So-
could make sense. But
Yeah,
then
Yes.
the only thing
the
that
way you say that, it
cancels-
makes sense.
it
And Mike,
rejects
think
that-
about all the times the word rainbow comes up, where he goes to the rainbow
Yeah.
thing, and
Well,
then goes to the
Rainbow
well, on
Tux.
top
and
of that,
the
it's like the rainbow lights in the background too.
Yeah,
So like anytime like one of those encounters were going on, there was like lights in the back. Like
I'm about to
and
watch this
it's
movie
even
again,
from the
honestly, dude.
beginning when he's
That's what I'm
talking
saying, Stanley
when he's
Kubrick's
talking to
like-
the two models, it's perfectly lined up. Tom Cruise in the middle. You got the Christmas lights going in the background, and that was the good usage of Christmas lights because it implies the rainbow. And even the one sister, the more attractive sister, I will say, she was like, "Don't you want to go to the end of the rainbow?"
yep.
Yeah.
And then literally he goes. Then the costume store is called like the Rainbow or
Rainbow
something.
Tux.
And then underneath it though is called Under the Rainbow.
Yep. And,
So
and,
what-
and
what
one more
was-
thing. Sorry, just to prove
you're
that
good.
I think it's is in his imagination is so when he's like in his doctor's office or with his wife at his house, they use a Steadicam.
He's
And then-
feeling- oh,
No, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Mike. They use static cam, which is like a more grounded version of like camera work. And then when he's like at the, orgy or whatever, they use free cam, the way they move around to make things more creepy, but it looks like it's more in his head. It's more following the character rather than the whole scene.
So with the camera, I mean, it is kind of different because it's such a big scene. You got so many people on camera at once, so you
Yeah.
kind of have to change up the camera.
Well, it's even when he's, like, doing
you
his
don't,
walks.
But you don't when it comes to this fucking director. Stanley Kubrick
Yeah.
was the fucking man at
Mhm.
getting these angles. All of those were intentional. I'm with Josh. The way I interpret that though, Josh, was yeah, it's in his head, but it's in his head because he's fucking spinning out of fucking control. It's
Yeah.
not because he's asleep to me. To me, I'm reading that more so as this is a man that just got told by his wife that she's trying to get fucked by 100 dudes.
yeah.
And she had a whole dream about
Okay,
it.
but what
one-
about what about the title, Eyes Wide Shut?
Well,
No,
that whole point, Eyes Wide Shut, is again, if you want to go to the conspiracy route, this is Kubrick's way of saying, "Hey, your eyes are open, but you're not fucking paying attention to what's going on around
Yeah.
you."
No, even
And
that,
one
or
of
it's
the
the fact that
biggest
you know
fucking
what's going on
things-
and you just don't say anything about it.
Yeah,
Everyone
you're
keeps their
ignoring.
eyes wide shut. Like you keep
Yeah,
your mouth shut.
exactly. And like again, obviously, this movie's from the '90s, and he's probably had this idea for like a while before that. This has been going around, like the whole idea of the elitist groups throwing these types of sex parties. Like that's a common fucking thing.
I think I read he wanted to make it since the 70s.
Yeah, and
So
that makes
did it
sense.
happen though?
Well, see,
It
that's
happens
I
every
think it's in
day.
his head. But that's
The-
but Brian,
the
isn't that like a
only
big
What,
thing-
debate?
was that? What was that
Yeah,
interaction
well-
with Ziegler at the end?
So the
Or
ending
how
at
he set him
Ziegler,
up.
Yeah, the ending was Ziggler. It's speculated that Ziggler was actually the man in red, like he was Red Cloak.
Yeah.
Like they say that it was him between him pointing and then the way that he the one that like really got me because again Kubrick is fucking crazy. He fucking planned everything.
Moves
He's
the cue
having
balls.
he's having Ziggler fucking spin the ball and then double tap it the way that he was doing. He was spinning the
Mhm.
incense and then double tapping the staff. He
Oh,
was
Yeah.
doing that with the pool ball, and then on
And the
top
pool
of that,
stick.
he was doing it with the fucking chalk. Like he was talking to Tom
Mm.
Cruise and just kind of picked up the chalk again and went and spun it. And it's just like, damn, dude.
So yeah, there's a lot of hidden details where he is the red cloak guy. But the only thing like that it makes sense, and you can have a perspective watching this movie as in the way that he's just making it all up in his head and stuff like that. But then it kind of cancels out when he goes home and he
And the mask
finds
is
the
there.
mask is the
Yeah, I was gonna
mask.
ask
That's
that.
a
How did
physical
that
property.
disproves everything,
Yeah.
Josh.
Well, no,
So-
I
What do you
think that
think
the
about
mask
that?
being there is in his head as to whether or not
But
he
she
wants
sees
to.
it. She knows
No.
about it the next day at the toy store.
Well, no, she wakes up and sees him freaking out.
Yeah, she sees him
And
crying,
have it- and, like,
he goes,
yeah,
"I don't
He
Yeah,
know."
says,
and
"I'm
goes-
gonna tell you
I don't think
everything."
I'm going to
she
tell you
acknowledged it.
everything, and tells her everything.
You want to know
He
what's
doesn't-
also really
he doesn't
crazy
actually see
about
the
that
mask.
part?
Mhm.
The ending is kind of when Nicole Kidman says, "Well, at least now we're all
Fuck.
awake."
Yeah.
That's like
Fuck.
Kubrick talking to us.
Yeah.
Is how people interpret that. That's Kubrick's way of being like, "Hey, you're welcome. I introduced you to the high societies and what fucked up shit they do." But at the same time, again, they cut these 24 minutes, and again, probably would have been NC-17,
How'd he die?
where it would have been deeper. Actually,
said
heart
heart
attack.
attack.
And you want to
arrest.
know what makes
Damn.
that death even better? You ready for this?
4 months before the movie came out. He didn't even get to finish it. That's what he was
So-
talking about.
So he dies from a heart attack, right? Unsuspicious. Everyone's like, "Oh, okay." Except
50
for
some
all of
years
his castmates and everyone else was like, "This dude was in good fucking health. Him having a heart attack makes no goddamn sense. This is pre-COVID back." So no,
He was
I'm
living in
fucking with you.
Paris.
Who else was in Paris? But so what's wild though is so that happens to Stanley Kubrick
Cut that shit,
in
Josh.
this movie. In this
Ooh.
movie, Mandy gets killed, right? And they say, "Oh, it's an
She dies.
overdose,
She doesn't get killed.
whatever." But is it an overdose? Because when Ziggler's talking to him at the end, he goes, "Yeah, you know, you even said so yourself. It was a number of time." He goes, "She died of natural causes. When we dropped her off, she was fine. Like she died on her own." And then he goes, "We're happy. The police are happy. Like it's just life." And
Covered
it's
up.
just like, who says that? Who's if it's natural causes? Who says, "Oh, the police are
Well,
happy"?
Brian,
police are
I want to
happy.
say at the party when Sally was there and he had Dr. Will come upstairs or Dr. Bill come upstairs and see Mandy and help her. He was treating Mandy as if she was a product, basically, like not an actual person, not a human being. He
Yeah,
didn't really
no,
care
and
for her
again,
life.
and like,
Well,
and like
that's
that,
because
that
she saves his
whole
life.
that whole thing right there.
Well, I'm saying Ziggler didn't care about her.
Yeah, Ziggler.
Yeah.
She's literally Ziggler's only
She was-
scared because she's in his house, and if she fucking dies, that's not him.
Exactly.
And so, what's also weird about that, and kind of implies some of the shit that they cut. He stands over her like a fucking dad, hands on the shoulders. "You gave us a scare, kiddo." Who the fuck? Why are you calling her kiddo if you were just trying to
Yeah,
fuck her,
I
dude?
saw that and
Like
thought that
that's
was weird.
disgusting.
And if she's been passed out for 5 or 6 minutes, why are you now just getting dressed and getting off her?
Exactly. So that's what makes it even fucked. Like if you catch that.
But he keeps bringing up that she's a prostitute and that she's gonna die eventually with the lifestyle that she
because
lives.
and again,
Mhm.
especially in those times, it's like even common with like real life serial killers, this is confirmed. They would kill prostitutes because nobody fucking cared. They're like, "Oh, that's their profession. She's below us." Like they didn't treat them as a person just because that's what they did for work. So that's
Yeah.
why that's a cop out. And they're like, "Well, she's just a prostitute, drug addict." Like, no, she's still a person at the end of the day, man.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's other things too, right? So the movie opens past the Nicole Kidman part. The
Oh,
movie
yeah.
opens with Tom Cruise looking for his wallet and he goes, "Where's my wallet?" And Nicole Kidman knows exactly where it is. And there's multiple times throughout the movie, and I know you guys probably noticed this, where she's staring at a mirror to the point where
Mhm.
it's almost uncomfortable. Basically, I think most people's theories is that her eyes are pretty much open and his aren't yet. And once she tells him the fantasy about that officer, her life is completely unlocked and open. And that's why her dream, she explains that she had made love with multiple different men and is laughing at him because now she can be her true self. And throughout the movie, you see her
Ooh,
constantly in
so
scenes
glad
with
you
her
said that.
daughter trying to look pretty and doing her hair and
Well, she's
putting on
also a
deodorant.
stay-at-home mom. She doesn't do
She's a
shit.
stay-at-home mom.
So
And there's a theory that
Supposedly.
there's a theory too that she's grooming the daughter to be just just like her. When Tom Cruise comes home and he's grabbing a beer out of the fridge, he looks over and Nicole Kidman and their daughter are doing math, and they're doing math by talking about two different men and how much money each one has. Really breaking it down. There's so many different scenes and moments.
Oh man, there's like 3 different things I want to talk about.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Quick
I know it's a
and
lot.
easy one. No, I'm glad. So quick and easy one. When it goes back to the rainbow thing, the rainbow thing like popped up every time there's a sexual encounter, or whatever. The first time you get introduced to Milich, right? Is that his name?
Yes.
Milich's daughter, there's the rainbow there, and she's apparently like a kid, he ends up pimping her out, which is super fucked up.
And it's just like Tom Cruise is so
there,
confused.
There's rainbow there, and then at the end, when he figures out that Milich is pimping out his daughter, there's no rainbows. The whole thing's gone. He's not a horny bastard anymore, which is fucked up. Because
Brian, hold on. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
When the daughter whispers in Tom Cruise's ear after she comes out, apparently someone watched it in Japanese and they had English subtitles on there, and for some reason it says what she's saying, I guess, to him. She's telling him which cloak to pick out.
Yeah, I read about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's true, but I just want to say.
Yeah, no, I heard about that today. But no, and then so what it comes down to though is it's like kind of implied that Tom Cruise does not want his daughter to end up the way Milich's daughter is, and that was a big thing. Another big thing is, and again, this is speculation, but it also makes sense. The person Nicole Kidman talks to in the beginning, I forget the guy's name. It's a play on it's the play on like the something of like the Church of Satan, like the head guy or something like that.
Oh damn.
It's actually they say that she was going to be the one that was brought into the secret society by that guy, and that he was actually going to be Red Cloak.
Oh, wow.
That's what I didn't get that.
And that's why it didn't make sense that we got this full conversation with this dude, and then like we don't see him again later on.
But then that also goes to the one shot where he goes back to the gate. And remember, the guy pulls up in the car, and you think that the guy that hands him the letter is Red Cloak. So you assume that three people now are Red Cloak?
You don't. It's not Red Cloak.
That's just
Red
just
Cloak
saying
has all his servants working for him.
Yeah, that's his butler.
No, but
dude. Red Cloak wouldn't.
You could even think that it would be.
Does Bruce Wayne go answer the gate, or is it Alfred? Anyway, go ahead,
No
Mike.
matter, you didn't see any faces when you went there the original time. So
I wonder if people can like look at eyes within the mask and like see connect eyes.
Well,
with like,
that's why they called them out.
Mandy could. Mandy recognized him right away.
I know, but I'm saying like people like watching it, like us, like outside of the movie, like if people have like looked at eyes underneath masks.
And, well, and Mike, you'd think like, how does Mandy really know it's him? And like when he was trying to wake her up at the first party,
Mandy's the prostitute, right?
Yeah.
Mandy.
Yeah, so she was the girl in the mask that like saved his life, I guess.
Well, her body looks the same in the morgue, I think, in the
which is a really weird scene, and I can't imagine if this was real time being in that morgue with Tom Cruise. Like if that was like a real situation, like Tom Cruise is obviously trying to figure out from the body, from the party, and from actually both parties. But then you have the guy that like works in the morgue, and thankfully he like turns around. But also then Tom Cruise is doing that weird thing, like the Spider-Man kiss almost.
Why is it she had HIV? Like,
well, that's a different girl. That's Domino.
Different, yeah.
That's the first girl prostitute
Domino's the
that he
girl
went
in the
home with.
apartment.
Mandy's the one that OD'd upstairs, and then she was the one that was at the party.
That saved him, and then she was the one that
saved her, so she saved him at the end.
Yeah. But when he's waking her up at the beginning of the party, he's like, Mandy, look at my eyes, look at my eyes to make sure she was like.
It could be that.
Yeah, so she was looking into his eyes, and that's how she knew it was him at the party.
I thought the one that died was the girl that he gave $150 to.
No, but she gets HIV.
Yeah,
but that's one of the best things he did in the movie was like being kind enough to give her the money and then being loyal to his wife and not sleeping with her. And then he got rewarded for that by not getting HIV from sleeping with her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Let me ask.
That's why it was the point that she had HIV, because I was like, what's the point of us?
Yeah, but then I mean,
because you could tell in his face, it's just like fuck. And then again, it does speculation like if this was a dream, did he fuck her?
Yeah. Well, so let me ask. We'll take a pause here real quick, because I want to ask Mike and Andrew, did you guys know at all what this... I mean, we've mentioned only like maybe a quarter of it. It's crazy over the last like 24 years. People are to this day, there's a subreddit of this movie, and people to this day still have theories. It's like the Zodiac Killer.
Well, it definitely doesn't help that he got taken out before it.
So do you guys know that there was this many? Did you guys think there was before we started doing this review? I mean, we tried not to say anything.
What do you mean know that there were this many what?
this
Like
many
theories.
conspiracy theories and like holes and like different ways to
How
interpret the
much of
movie.
a onion this was?
like
how
like
many
like
layers
like I
there
said,
were
like
to this
Brian
shit.
and Brian and Aiden thinks everything that happens was real. I believe most of it was in his head.
But I mean, that's the beauty of Stanley Kubrick.
It
Though.
is,
Like,
but
every
I'm
single
gonna
movie
say
has
they
a
thought-
million different conspiracy
Yeah.
theories.
Yeah, I fall somewhere in between, probably you guys. I feel like but probably leaning more towards Aiden and Brian's perspective. I feel like this is stuff that really did happen.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm with
That's
you,
at least
Andrew.
that's at least how I perceived it.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean, it's
I'm-
not like they were normal people; they're prostitutes.
Ye-
And like the one lady's crazy; she
What?
didn't like her husband.
Well, I think all humans
Talking
are
about the
human beings,
girls
but-
at the party and the girl that he went back to the
They're
apartment.
not
with.
human beings. They're prostitutes. What the fuck are you
No,
saying?
you idiot! I'm talking about
products.
the encounters.
The what?
The encounters when he goes, the sexual encounters. That's all everything. Like that's what it is. They're all prostitutes.
Yeah,
The only one
they're-
that isn't
they're
is the doctor.
fantasies.
or
They're
the doc-
idealizations.
His patient
like-
assistant.
I think I'm with Andrew. I think they fall. I think I fall in between a little bit. I'm in the middle. I think most of them did happen, and I think they're just they're bigger. They're portrayed bigger than they actually were. If that makes sense. Like they happened, but not to the extent that they're portrayed in his eyes.
Yeah. Now,
You know?
I have a question for you guys. Did you like realize the irony in the two different parties? So like you start off and it's like Tom Cruise's rich doctor going to hang out with other rich people and he brings his smoke of a wife and they're all hanging out, sharing the wealth, doing drugs, drinking, and like obviously hitting on each other's wives, not being very faithful. And that's them without a mask. Now they go to this, like Tom Cruise goes to the secret society party. Everyone has a mask on, but they're truly getting to be themselves, you know? They're all fucking drinking, having a good time. And that's
Good
what's
point.
wild is that that is when the mask is on, they're their real selves, which is like super ironic. And I fucking love that. When I like picked up on that, I was like, that's really fucking cool.
Over my head, and that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, that once they get the mask on, they are who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Holding
again,
back.
there's no
They can hide
like,
behind it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And again, that's where this whole idea of the elitist shit comes from because they don't always wear the mask. Because as you could tell, like Ziegler said, he was like, you would shit yourself if you knew the type of people that were at these parties. And so, like, they know.
I was
who
hoping he
they
would say
are.
some names or something.
Yeah,
like that.
well, again, it's not real, so I don't. He really would have got
Yeah, it's
taken
on
out
his
even
head.
quicker.
I know, but
not
like
like
the
that.
president, the Senate, like I wish he would have name dropped like big titles like that. That would have been cool. I think.
Yeah, so it was just.
Had he know he was going to be killed or
Mhm.
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, and then the thing too, where he was like, "Oh, it was all a charade." Like, how the fuck do you know it was a charade? Like, Ziegler literally admitted that they didn't know it was an imposter until he didn't have the second password, even though there was no second password. So how could that be a charade? So they
It-
for sure killed the pianist. They for sure killed the prostitute, and then the HIV was just bad timing. and then the cherry on
I think
top,
Nick's at home with his family in
the
Seattle.
cherry on
Yeah.
top is that he
I
comes
sure as fuck
home
don't.
and fucking the mask is on the pillow. The mask that he apparently lost, which apparently he didn't lose, right? He put it in that little shelf in the bookcase,
Yeah,
or
he
whatever the fuck it was. Yeah,
took
so
it
he
out,
did
put
that.
it
But
there.
even then, he
It's
put it
symbolism.
down there. He put it down there, and now it's on the bed. So that means these people are powerful enough to get into his house that for sure has his wife, his daughter, probably a maid.
Remember they mentioned his wife and daughter.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they said
Well,
his
they
family.
give him Dr. Bill
Yeah.
or Will.
And then
Martin,
that
they hand
one,
him the letter.
I think Ziegler was fucking with him in the sense where he's like, when he was like, "Oh, it's a charade. You left your fucking thing in your pocket."
Rental
like,
ticket.
I don't think Tom Cruise even did that because he had his other clothes, so he could have easily just left it. in the
No,
other
he probably
clothes
left it in
the
his
cab.
coat though,
Why would he? He
because
had
his
all his
coat's where
other
his wallet
shit.
and everything's at.
I mean, I guess.
And
but-
he gives when he's returning the costume, he has the ticket that he gives to him from his coat.
yeah, but again, it was still in the fucking like.
I believe
ass.
my boy
What if
Zig.
Stanley Kubrick is still alive? He just faked his own death.
This could be like
Who
Carol
the
Baskin's
greatest movie to
husband
do
who
it
was
on?
just found
But
today.
who the fuck is Ziegler? Like, what is like?
He's just a
What's up?
high up
Yeah,
like
Ziegler
he's
just
just powerful.
represents wealth.
Bigwig.
So like,
Wealth.
and what's wild is they describe there was a couple things where they called Tom Cruise fucking middle class, and I like shit myself.
technically though
They
compared to
called him
them
middle
at the
class,
party,
but yeah,
he
but
is.
compared
Yeah.
to them, yeah, because now to us he has wealth. He's got hundreds of dollars on him at all times. Still, he's tipping left and right. Like
He
we
had
know
to
he's
have at
got
least
fantasy of him
$1,000
throwing
in
money
but
around.
then these people
He had to have
know-
$1,000 in
these
his wallet that
people are
night.
to the point though where they
No.
got that fucking bread to bring a fucking limo with a driver that's just.
Well, no, you got to think that
full
they
of
have
them.
a nice ass like house, like a big ass house,
A
and
state.
then they have estates, and he's still in an apartment,
Right.
even though
That's
it's a
what I'm
nice ass
saying. Like,
apartment.
there's wealth, and then there's this wealth of where
Oh,
these
yeah.
fucks are at this fucking party.
I mean, dude, he's doing house calls for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
those people have definitely more money.
Okay,
than
so
him.
this person explained it really well on IMDb, and I want to read it really quick. All of our protagonists' encounters represents manifestations of his sexual fantasies and fears. His fantasies include group sex, sex with a teenager, sex with a prostitute, sex without strings. His fears include disease, homosexuality, and the brutal and brief encounter of the gay bashing gang that he runs into those teenagers, and most of all, discovery of his hidden fantasies, which might reveal his true nature to the world. Discovery that he is really a pretender, doesn't really belong, and is not worthy after all. What do you think of that?
Not worthy of
Goes to the
what?
party, when he goes to that first party, there's a theory that him and his wife are middle class, like Brian said, don't really belong, and are technically wearing a mask already.
Well, they're living
Well,
in an
he's always
apartment.
wearing a mask when he's around them, though. Like, that's his Dr. Bill mask. It's not him, like, when he's home
A
with
lot
his
of people
wife.
get that though in real life. That like
Yeah,
imposter.
like,
Well, that's the
syndrome.
Kubrick,
my work side doesn't fucking know who I am outside of work.
Exactly. Well, and that's what we were talking about with Kubrick. Always has something. It's not just for the character Dr. Bill. It's for the viewers themselves to open your eyes. Right. That's the whole point of the end of the movie, I think. So when he walks in and sees the mask on his bed, yes, the viewer can interpret, oh, this gang is watching him, the society is watching him, and can get to his wife and daughter easily. But I believe that that's his fears of his fantasies and everything like that. He has to face the fact of telling his wife the truth or hiding his fantasies in a closet and locked away. So either he can come to the fact of what he wants to be and tell her the truth of what happened, of what is this spiral that he went into,
Yeah,
or
he should
to
probably
hide
just
it.
he should probably put the mask on and hide it.
Because she never looks at the mask. She wakes up and sees him crying next to her, and then the next shot is the next scene where he's
Hey
telling her
babe,
what happened.
I gotta tell you something. I have
No,
these
but that's the other thing.
fantasies.
I mean, you could definitely picture that, and you could say all that, you could believe it, but the fact
Interpret
is like in reality, like you're literally watching it. Like, where else would he be at that point in time during the movie? Like, you
Maybe
see
he's
the
just going on
sex
walks
scene,
and
but
fantasizing in his head.
if you
No.
were,
This is
but there's
American
got to be
Psycho,
hints.
Why
bro.
wasn't there be?
But there's got to be hints to where, like, oh, maybe it isn't real. And
You guys know in
said,
Fight
like,
Club, Brad
stuff,
Pitt
and
was
all
a
you
real
do
man.
is
And
just
again,
fucking
Josh,
stand.
I think what you're running with is all 100% true, and there's sure signs of it. And again, when it comes to the rainbow, because there was always like a rainbow flare on the lens, and it happened when he met what's the prostitute's name?
Domino.
Domino.
Yep.
Like there's like a little glint on the camera. It's like rainbow. It's sexual encounter. There's Christmas lights everywhere. It's kind of the same thing with the gay bashing group. There's a glint of the rainbow, and that's the thing too about his sexuality. So like it's kind of there. But
Yes.
again, I think the usage of these camera angles and shit is him battling this inside his head, sure. But I do think he actually went through these events. I think that this did happen because then the whole conversation with Ziegler would be nulled, and it's like we know that he was over there.
Well, that's the thing. So like, even in the second night, he goes out. He goes to Domino's house again, right?
Mhm.
Figures out that she tested positive for HIV.
Tries
He
to
goes
fuck
back.
the roommate, which was insane.
Yes, he goes back. He goes back to bring the costume. Figures out that the underage daughter, slept with the two men, right?
Mhm.
And then he goes back to the estate where they know his name and lock him out. So it's like he goes back to redo the night that he did before and
Mhm.
finds all these different occurrences, and that his friend is gone and everything like that.
Yeah, I
That's
was gonna
just
say, how do
another
you
thing that
explain
was
that
in
then? How do you
my-
explain to him like sitting at the fucking cafe and figuring out where Nick's at, and then going there and the bellboy or the fucking guy that's running the counter was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, so I saw Nick at about 5:30. He checked out. Some guy settled his tab. Another guy took him up to his room, grabbed all his stuff, and then he left with a bruise on his face in a fucking car, and they sped off.
I didn't get that part because
Well, because they
why would
figured-
why would he know all this stuff and be willing to tell Tom
Because
Cruise's
he
character
was-
that?
I mean,
Because it was in his like that was like he
no,
may have
because
talked.
the guy
he
was
may have
like
talked to the
basically
clerk.
hitting on him. The front desk, the concierge was basically hitting on him.
He may have
Mike, I'm saying from the point where his wife and him have that serious ass deep conversation monologue from when they're smoking weed. To
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
point of
say,
the
and
end
that's
of
the thing,
movie,
and
it's
that's
all in
another
his head.
thing that nulls it. They
until
say
he
that-
confesses everything. I think
Yes, it's all in his head.
I think all of it happens. It's just it's bigger. It's visualized bigger than what actually happened. Like truthfully, if that makes sense. Like he goes to the society, but like all that crazy shit doesn't happen. He
But I
goes.
mean,
to
it's not
tu-
even
to
like
the
it's
tuck
not
shop.
So are you
realistic.
saying, Mike? Are you saying that the prostitute didn't like get killed? That she did OD? The one at the morgue.
I don't know about that, but I'm just
Or what
saying,
about
like,
what about his friend, Nick Nightingale, the piano player? Do you think he died or do you think he went home?
I mean,
Because it's all up into interpretation.
personally, yeah, I think they probably both died.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
they
they
got
both
killed.
died, but
The fact
yeah,
that
they got
he
killed.
gets
Suicided.
blindfolded and plays piano for that fucking the sex gang, whatever they got going on there, that Cole, and you think that he's not dead? He's
Is there some
100% dead.
yeah,
I don't think it's real.
It is. It's 100% real.
is
And
there
like I said, I
something
mean that's too
In
much
real
shit
life,
to.
that's a real fucking ritual.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
in real life.
that's
I
a
mean, in the
Masonic
Like
for
it's
the
not even,
character
but it's not
Dr.
even like the
Phil.
events that he went throughout this entire movie from start to finish is unrealistic. Like there's nothing like crazy. Like he didn't get abducted by aliens or some stupid shit.
I don't know, man. When I
He
see
went
that
to he went to a party and they're all fucking.
when I
Yeah.
s-
I don't know.
hey,
It's just weird.
when I seen that scene with in the tuck shop with those two Asian guys and that daughter, I was like, I literally said, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
I
that's when
was
it starts to you really start to like wonder what the fuck
like,
are you
what?
watching? That's like
But then you
the
realize like,
intro.
but then it's like the day after, like that guy, he realizes that like he can make a business out of this. You know, like he keeps the
Mhm.
clients happy and he makes more money, and that's how he benefits from
Do
it.
you guys get what I'm
Telling
saying?
his daughter.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think the events actually happened, not to the extent of where they're like told within the movie.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Mike. And the thing is like obviously I
Based on
have
true
my
events.
interpretation of what I believe the movie is, and like we all do, each of us do. And the thing is, what's really, really cool about this fucking movie is none of us are really wrong. Technically. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't know, right?
No
And
I
that's
one
what
think
was
knows.
just right before.
I think he wanted to in the 26-minute version that was cut at the beginning there was a slide title that said based on true events. That
Yeah.
got cut
For
out.
26 minutes.
But I
Again,
mean, I understand
well,
the fact that
That was
whoever
the first
mentioned
26
that,
minutes. It was
you know,
just
they're gonna
that.
do like sort of an Epstein in those 25 minutes. Was that Yupov?
Yep.
You know, they're gonna do like something with like children instead of like
Yeah,
grown
well, I
adults
mean, again, it's
there,
not
and
like
it's
they
like,
were gonna
all
have
right,
like
yeah,
someone to like say that, like they weren't
yeah.
gonna have
But
like a
then I
person,
guess
but no,
if they were
they
to
were just
do
going
it
to
that
He's like, come to
way,
my
heavily
island.
imply. No, they were just gonna heavily imply that they were young girls.
but I feel like
'cause
they
that's the
implied
thing.
that using the tuxedo shop's daughter.
Yeah, no,
Like,
and
that's
it's
Didn't you
totally
work at a
there.
tuxedo shop?
Yeah, we didn't have all that.
Wait a second.
Oh, okay. All right.
But no, and
Weren't you
like
underage when you were
wrong
working
with
there,
you
Aiden?
I had a fucking note about that
They were
in my
trying to sell
notes
me.
just to say that like yeah, the idea of Milicich's daughter is like it's that, and it's that grown men, and again implies that they're businessmen because again he literally goes, we were just doing business earlier, like yeah, it's like these older guys fucking a young girl, which is gross. But again, that was like the one time when they can apply it. But what they wanted to imply it to this idea of these giant parties where the elitists are at, that's where the line is drawn. It's like, well, what you can't say that. And then it comes to again in real life, we're not lucky, but we've been around long enough and enough stuff has been exposed when it comes to stuff like Pizzagate. You can believe Pizzagate's fake, but at a certain
What the
point,
fuck is Pizzagate?
I don't even know what Pizzagate is.
Little
Pizzagate was when the
Caesars.
guy
It's
fucking
some
took
about
the
Little
gun
Caesars.
and went into a pizza shop
We
because
got some
he
inside
thought that
guys,
there was
so
like kids being trafficked there and shit. And there's like instances of that where like it'll be like bills will come out and it'll be like presidents spending hundreds and thousands of dollars at something called a pizza place, and people speculate
Wait,
that's
is it like a human trafficking thing?
yeah, it's like it's a human trafficking thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a whole documentary that I watched fucking forever ago, and I'm gonna text
about
you guys
Mr.
the name of
Beast.
it when I remember it. But it goes into all different types of
Beastgate.
gross shit that happens in the government, but that they have names. There's like codes for what it means for all these different types of like if
Well,
you
remember,
wanted
the most
kids, if
recent
you
one is
wanted
Wayfair. Remember,
teenagers.
they were selling cabinets for $5,000 with
Yeah,
kids' names
yeah,
on
and
it.
it was like
That's
named after
fucking
missing
weird, dude.
kids and shit, dude. Yeah, that was fucked.
Wow,
And
that's insane to
again,
me
and
that
again,
that company is still up and running.
we're in 2023. Well, again, you don't want to
I
look into
guarantee it
like
probably is.
you
It's a
don't
sad
you
reality.
don't want to look into like who their investors are and who their main investors are. They probably don't even publicly announce.
Oh, that shit's all, dude. There's so many
Brian,
layers
what if
that
I
you have
came
to
up to
peel
you
off
and
in
was
order to
like,
find that.
meet me at the end of the rainbow?
Dude,
Yeah.
fuck you. I wouldn't come home this weekend. I'm staying out here.
So Brian, what do you think about the people that call us like um Wizard of Oz for adults or whatever, the Alice, through the looking glass, like all those comparisons, do you think those are kind of dumb or do you see the connections there?
I mean, I totally see the connections. It's like because Dorothy's whole thing. What was the hidden message in Wizard of Oz? Wasn't it like
It's politicians and the
yeah,
government.
yeah, and so from that standpoint, yes. But again, this is a Kubrick film, so
But
he
it's
did
also
that,
reaching.
but he did it on 10. and fucking implied a
Yeah,
bunch
he
of other
didn't hold
shit
back.
to it.
No, I mean, and that's
And
go
what's
ahead, you
cool
can
is
finish up.
like it's like yeah, so there's all these theories, and obviously you guys could tell I fucking eat this shit up. But then at the end of the day, you do have this battle of like what Josh believes, that this is all a dream, that this is just a man being told by his wife that she desires other men, but won't do it because she loves him. But at the same time, it's just like that's always a thought in the back of her head, you know. And now he's going through this whole thing. Where he's like, well, now I want to get my penis touched. Like,
Yeah, and he
it,
believed in his head
Clip
before
that.
there's no way that she would have thoughts like that.
yeah,
He's
and
a
it's
better man than me, man. What? Don't no, I'm just
this
saying.
guy's something
No.
else.
This guy's
I didn't
horrible.
want to be the first to
Guy's
agree with
sick.
you.
No,
yeah.
I'm just saying. If my wife told me that, I probably would do something a lot more.
What about the
drastic.
dreams she had, Mike? That was brutal.
Yeah,
too.
it's
No,
weird. It's fucked up, man.
The fact that
and-
she's like,
Well,
I'd throw my life away.
Quit
to get her
antagonizing.
kid.
Quit antagonizing right now.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's
as
just a
soon as
fact.
she's-
So
As soon as she
Go
says
ahead.
I would throw my life away to like, and I would do whatever that person wanted or whatever, like
no, she was ready to throw her life away. She had
yeah, no,
second
I
thoughts
mean
of throwing
I'm
her
going
life
on a
away.
fucking revenge curve at that point. I'm a
And that's
that's the
basically what he
villain.
did.
That's a
do.
villain origin story.
Yeah, see, and that's like the basis
Motherfucker
of
is
the
gonna turn
movie
into the
is that
Joker at the
literally,
end of
like,
this
she
fucking
says
shit,
that
bro.
early on. She says that early on, and he keeps having these different encounters, and you know, like he wants to so bad, but something happens.
I got these
Like, you know, his wife calls him while he's in the apartment, you know, stuff like that. Like something's always happening, and he's coming to like he's going more to his morals and accepting.
But
like,
can't you?
know,
Couldn't
she
you
didn't.
say though
She
that's his?
said that she had fantasies of it, but she didn't physically do it.
But
then
couldn't you
he's
say? Couldn't you say
second-guessing.
that's his fantasies that he could do it? But then he's getting calls and stuff like that. That's bringing him back
Yeah,
to reality
because-
that he shouldn't be doing these things.
But
or
it
thinking
makes
these
sense
things?
because she only said that she interpreted it. She only mentioned it, you know. She didn't say, "Oh, I actually did bang this guy and do all that."
Yeah.
So that's why those things go in his head, and that's why he thinks that he needs to do this in order to make up for it, to equalize it.
Well,
But
I
then
think.
realistically, all this is happening, and he doesn't
He
do
doesn't have sex
anything
with her.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Mhm.
think it's justification in his head too. Like he probably has those fantasies without her telling him what she was thinking about too. But it justifies it in his head, like, oh, I had the same type of things, and like the fact that you told me that I can do all these things, or I'm just in this way. But because she didn't actually do it, and it's just
Yeah, because clearly we see him
idealizations.
flirting with those two models at the first party, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's also flirting with the old guy.
yeah.
It is.
But they
two
both
wrong-
played
two
off
wrongs-
like they weren't,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Two wrongs
exactly
don't make
what
it
it
right.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both
and
of
him
them should
going
right.
doing all that, like I mean, it kind of just exposes, and it's crazy how they even out her dreams and his reality even out with her
love
saying that
dreams,
she's in a party getting.
Reality.
Yeah.
Again, I think the events happen, just not to the
100%.
extent.
Mike, could you see him being fake though, like in his head, like what I'm saying, or no?
I don't
No,
think.
I didn't
don't
get
think
big
fully.
American Psycho vibes from this. That's
I don't-
kinda
I don't
what
think
it
So I
feels
even-
like you're getting with.
I think even the events in her head, I'm so far. I think those may be true, and she's playing them as
Yeah,
true.
I believe that she
Andrew,
did. I believe that she did.
kind
bang
I
of
thought
him.
she was gonna
believe
show
that.
up in that fucking that
well,
temple. to be
yeah,
honest
yeah. I
with
kind
you.
of thought that she was going to be there too. And
Yeah.
I also thought that it did happen. But again, if that stuff that was cut is true, and like I said, if she was going to be the one that was brought into it, it would make sense that all these girls are there doing hella drugs. And again, like
Yeah, why are the girls there? Are they forced?
Ziggler, no, they get invited. They pay them and they give them free drugs and drinks, and they can do whatever. And the thing is, when Ziggler goes, she fucking got fucked out of her mind, and that meant on drugs, and all the guys taking turns fucking her. And it's just like that could happen in a haze because we saw what state she was in the bathroom. And again, Ziggler is just getting dressed, and she had been like that for 5 or 6 minutes. Like he could have been having a fucking go at it, as disgusting as it is.
I think he was.
And if that's the
100%.
case, then it could be like a long running thing that like if it just so happened Nicole Kidman was at one of these and was drugged and like had this dream and they
Dream,
like
yeah.
dropped her off. And again, if they clearly show that they can get in the house and drop off the mask, then it wouldn't be so far fetched to say that they could fucking get
Well,
this
and
woman
Brian,
out of
and there's
her
a point
house.
where he has to take off his mask at the thing, and they all laugh at him
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for not knowing
Yep.
the password. So
Yep. And what else is crazy too, because they tell us how they have like 2 apartments. They say that they have like, because when he goes and visits Nick, he's like, "Oh, I have an apartment nearby." Like he goes, "You live in the area?" And he goes, "No, I have an apartment nearby." So it's like it could be one of those things where Tom Cruise is staying at the apartment and they fucking come in, drug her, take her to this party. No one would know. So Andrew, I'm glad you brought that up because I was riding that fine line, but I wasn't sure if anyone else was feeling that or
No,
not.
I kind of felt
definitely
that.
believe that she did do that. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. I mean, you never know. I mean, you could justify his actions if he were to do that, as in she did do that. But if she
Mhm.
didn't,
I think
then
you're
he
supposed to
did
think that.
something.
Yeah, I think you're
that's
supposed to
exactly
kind of have
that's
that.
great
I mean,
storytelling.
I think it could definitely be true because look at like their relationship. They get drunk, they smoke weed, like it's it's not like a clean, healthy, happy relationship, you know?
It
Yeah.
seemed like they're vibing, man.
Why are you such a square,
Shit.
bro?
I'm a square. I'm literally
That-
just
that's goals
reading
right
the
Shit, I'm
there.
vibe.
married.
Yeah, that's gold. Where's my bay at?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, goals. Goals. My wife tells me she's having fantasies about fucking 100 other
Man,
dudes.
hey,
I didn't say
That's
that.
goals, man.
I
That's
said
that's
the
human
goals.
party.
nature,
That's
man.
the
goals.
goals.
The
Hey,
party.
No, hey,
hey,
someone clip
but
that shit.
hey, listen, that's human nature, man. Everyone has those thoughts and tendencies, but
Yeah, that argument
is
was
what it
pissing
is.
me off. So she goes, "What? You're not gonna fuck these girls because you're loyal to me?" I was like, it's a trap. No. As soon as she said that, as soon as she said that, I thought of the fucking Star Wars series. Like, it's a trap.
Yeah, there's
So-
you can't answer that.
So, but why?
Walk
He
away.
had he had really great responses to that. He handled that way better than probably
did.
any other man or
Yeah.
myself could fucking.
Dude, that
handle
scene
it.
was the
Well,
best.
no,
scene.
he's just sitting
Yeah.
there and his eyes are just like watering up, and they do the Kubrick zoom, the dolly zoom, and
You
he
mean
just
the Kubrick stare? When they
no,
were both
yeah,
just
that
staring
too.
at it?
But they
I
do
hit
the
I hit the
dolly zoom.
Drewski damn near. I was like,
Well,
pointing at
'cause
myself. Like,
For the first
I'm
half
on my
of that,
Bill Hartford shit.
for the
What do you
first half
mean-
of that
what do you mean
scene,
by
they're
that?
like zoomed out, and then once the like things get really serious, like Aiden said, it's like zoomed in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
definitely like I said. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I've been pitching this movie for how long now? I'm glad that
Yeah.
we're finally sitting here talking about
So-
it.
Yeah, I'm happy I finally watched it.
See,
I
got
guess
in.
while
Go
we're on the
ahead.
topic of his wife, why did she say we only have one choice left then, and that's the fuck at the end?
Yeah,
What was the
well,
point
it's
of that?
because they both got over what the fight was about. I think.
Yeah, she wants
Tom
to bang other dudes,
Cruise-
and he wants to bang other girls, but they
Yeah,
need to
but
just
Tom
bang each
Cruise
other.
going through that. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like, well, clearly we both have these thoughts, but we also still love each other, and now it's gonna solidify that. Like the idea of them having sex would just be like bringing it all back together.
That's
Maybe now they're
fucked
just
up.
thinking of different people, which is really
That's
fucking weird.
fucked
Brian,
up.
what's your thoughts on her always staring at the mirrors and shit?
Her staring at the mirrors to me was like her reflecting on herself, and it's like, is she truly happy? And it's like, because the biggest one comes after she dances with the guy at the party, and she's staring in the mirror. Great scene. And then Tom Cruise comes up from behind her, handsome guy, can't lie.
Dude, his
And
hair
then
in the movie is amazing.
yeah, it's
It
so
reminded me of American
fresh,
Psycho,
bro.
Christian Bale.
So
Yeah, dude, his
fresh.
hair looks so good. Sorry.
But yeah, like it's her staring there, and then it's almost like she's looking at her, she's looking at Tom Cruise, and it's like, is she?
She knows
thinking of
she's
the
bad.
other guy, yeah. And like to me, it's like
She's bad,
it's her
bro.
looking at herself. Almost to me, it's like if she would go through with temptation or not. You know, I think that's what I'm getting every time she's like staring at herself.
Well, yeah, I mean, then again,
So-
she's a stay-at-home mom, and she realizes. I mean, you could take so many different things into consideration. You could say the fact that they're middle class, and she can go and get that guy that was
Mhm.
most likely have more money than her husband right now. Like
Mhm.
she's a trophy wife, and that's what she's good at. But she has a daughter, she has a husband, so you know, like she's kind of locked in.
So what we need actually is a second movie, Eyes Open Shut, where it's through her eyes, where she goes to the society, and it's through her, it's through her fantasies and her idealizations, and
Well,
she
see,
has her own night.
There's things like in that final scene when they go to the toy store, she wears her glasses, which is the first ever time you see her wear the glasses outside the house. And basically people's arguments are like, after she tells Tom Cruise about the fantasies she had with that officer, that she's now awoken, like her eyes are now open and she can now be herself and doesn't have to hide all these secrets and can be confident and everything like that. So
This fu-
there's
Do you
this
think
so
that he
many
feels the
different
same way?
things.
This is so fucking movie, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, and then like too, there's another thing like we didn't even mention, like Domino
He's got
has
the
this
monocle
tiger.
on.
Domino has this tiger behind her on the bed after Tom Cruise gets off the phone with his wife.
Mhm.
And that same tiger toy is right there at the very end at the toy store. And it's both like supposed to resemble like wanting something, temptation. Like when you're a kid at a toy store, you want every toy there. And when he's looking at this beautiful girl on the bed, obviously he wants to have sex with her, but ends up not doing so.
There
So
was
there's
two.
so many.
There
different
was
things.
two other cool things in Domino's apartment.
Go.
First was there's the apple. This is the apple of temptation right on the tree. And then on top of that, there's like hella masks all over her fucking room. And in this sense, she's wearing a prostitute mask.
Yep.
She just found a man on the street, brought him back to her apartment.
Well, that's why, like,
right
part of
there.
it, part of that is that's why I thought she was the girl that sacrificed herself for.
Yeah, I thought so too
criminal.
for a
Especially because
second.
you didn't get to see her. Obviously, she didn't get undressed when they were in the apartment. And then you get that scene and you think that it's her, but then it matches up with.
Yeah, no,
the
I'm gonna be
original
honest,
girl.
Mikey. I was confused up until the fucking overdose thing, and then I pieced it together. I was like, "Holy fuck, that was the girl that OD'd in the fucking bathroom, and that's the girl that saved Tom Cruise's life." That's when I pieced that part together.
One thing that I like about this movie is when he's getting chased by the guy, and he goes into the coffee shop or the diner, and he's got,
He
"You're
knows
lucky
it's-
to be alive."
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah, well-
newspaper says that.
Well, then on
Well,
top of that, too, the
they're
name of
lucky
the
to
bar
be
is called
alive.
Sharkies,
Yeah.
so it's like a
Fuck.
threatening aurora.
Why am I drawing a blank right now? What's that Batman villain? With the bald one that always.
Oh, the Joker.
Zaz?
Penguin.
Zaz, that's what it is, man.
Oh.
Yeah, he did look like Zaz.
Go fuck yourself, Aiden.
Oh, the Joker with the shaved head.
Oh, bald Joker.
All right. So do you guys want to kind of get into trivia?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we mentioned already.
Oh wait, I have one
ahead.
quick trivia that I don't think is gonna be on your list.
Go ahead. Mine's,
Stanley
it
Kubrick
probably won't
helped
be.
fake the film land or the moon landing. He filmed that.
Oh
shit
yeah,
for him.
Aiden mentioned that last
Did film it.
episode. I think.
That was a trivia. That
Wait,
a lot of
re-say
people don't
that?
know. Stanley Kubrick helped fake the moon landing.
He directed it.
No, I've been to the moon. Flags there.
Yep, moon isn't there. We're in a bubble.
In a bubble.
It's literally someone
know-
could just like erase it.
All right,
it's
you
like,
got
it's
me.
all it's a big prop in the sky.
I just
I wanted to
actually-
make sure. I wanted to make
You
sure you
know,
had that little trivia on there, Josh.
The
For our
I
small
didn't have that
guy's,
one, so.
the small guy's hat that I was supposed to get is actually on the moon. Andrew put it there. He just
It's
didn't
right
give it to
behind
me.
him.
Oh, he meant that's what he meant by small guys to the moon.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you
Literally.
said there were small guys on the moon.
I should actually.
We
Those are
mentioned-
aliens.
We mentioned that Stanley Kubrick died 4 days before or after presenting to Warner Brothers. Even the cast and the two stars claim that he seemed like he was never in poor health while making the film. So,
Hey, they're all probably looking at each other. Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But so wait. I want to add something about Stanley Kubrick is that like he had his own production studio. So like he had literally imagine just say for example like everything that we see nowadays in movies like they had a whole group of people making the art, doing it from scratch, literally making like the Shining Hotel, like just for an example, is like obviously a real hotel. Inside but that
I've been there.
exterior shot,
Hmm.
the one in Oregon.
Yeah, I was there
Montana.
last. No, the one in Oregon.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so they shot at two
I was there
hotels,
last year.
and one of them like the front is it's on like scaffold, so it's just like a prop.
well, so he has a huge fear. I didn't learn until like looking into this movie. He has a huge fear of traveling. So he used to shoot all his movies in London.
Yeah,
So like
I was
all the
gonna
New York
say,
scenes are in
even
London.
fucking Full Metal Jacket was shot in London.
Yeah,
They didn't
it's
go to
all in
Vietnam
London.
for that. Yeah, and like what's cool too, like all the street shots and shit, that was all sets. All those
Yeah.
cars, all those people, that was all fake. That was none of that
I
was
told you
real.
that shit was fake. It looked fake.
And
that
half the
was-
time, Tom Cruise was walking like on a treadmill, and I don't know.
It didn't look
But-
great.
And they
It
did
is
really
crazy
well.
to
They did
think,
really
like-
well at angling it up so that way he didn't look so short.
But that
Yeah.
just shows you what a perfectionist Stanley Kubrick is, and like every single movie that he has is literally identical to this. You know,
Yeah.
like it tells a crazy story, and it's just a mind fuck. Like we can literally sit here and talk for 10 hours about each and every movie, and that's like when I watched this movie, it's always been on my list, and I was like, "Fuck it!" I watched Clockwork Orange, which is ridiculous, and we got to do that one. It's even more fucked up than this movie, in my opinion.
We'll add it.
And then I was like, "Fuck it, dude!" Like I'm watching all this Kubrick stuff. He's a great director, and you get in that K-hole, man, and you're just watching all of them, the Kubrick hole. That's what I'm gonna call it.
The cubicle.
So,
I
really
like
quick,
it. I
And dude,
like
you just
it.
watch them all, man, and it's insane, bro. You just
Really
go
quick,
down this
though.
dark tunnel.
When that Zaz looking motherfucker is following Bill, you can tell the set is fake by the fucking sound of his steps. It sounds like he's walking in a fucking room, but he's walking on the street.
Well,
That's
that was
something I want.
intentional.
But it's something I want to point out. Like it's just
Yeah.
funny. Like it's a little.
Yeah,
It's funny.
it's
It's a
from-
1999 film. I get
It's
it.
also really funny to note that Tom Cruise did this movie about a secret society, and the whole time was a part of Scientology.
Yeah.
Part of me kind of thinks
Well, that's
they're
what
like,
got him
"Alright,
into it.
Well, I was gonna say a part of me thinks that they were like, all right, Stanley, you want to make this fucking movie? We're gonna make sure we plant our boy Tom Cruise so that we don't expose too much. Because Tom Cruise doesn't strike me as the person to do a movie like this, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I was
This
talking about with my coworker. Like Tom Cruise has never been one to be like in serious movies, you know? Like he did the fucking
Yeah.
What are you
Top
talking about, bro?
Gun,
He did Top Gun Maverick, man.
yeah, and then what in Mission Impossible, he does these fun action movies. Why the fuck would he be in a movie about a secret society?
This
Like
is
that,
why
that just
this is
doesn't
probably
seem
one of
like
my
it would be fun.
favorite roles from Tom Cruise, in my opinion.
Well, yeah,
After
because
I
he's
saw this, I
actually
was
well,
like,
because he's
God, like,
actually fucking acting. That's what I'm
Yeah, he's
saying.
not doing some bullshit.
That's why though I feel like it's kind of weird
Some
that we're
bullshit
gonna
ass
make
stunt.
Cocktail's pretty good, man.
that we're gonna make a movie like this, and then we're gonna talk about secret society. Here you go. Here's a guy, a
Yeah.
part of one of the biggest fucking cults. I mean, religions in known to man right now.
Yeah, and to bring it back to Kubrick really quick, this movie still holds the Guinness World Record of longest movie filmed. So like it took over 400 days of filming.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
they
because the music they used for the ritual, they had that 2 years prior. Like
Yeah.
2 years prior, that
Shit's
shit,
creepy.
and like, and what they
It's
did,
so
it was the
scary,
real
man.
song, and then they had them reverse it.
Of
Yeah.
course. I feel like that
Yeah,
always
you
makes
can
music
literally
scary.
just turn that
Just
on and close
fucking
your eyes.
reverse
and just
it.
see it.
Terrifying, bro.
Well, and
But
originally too, they had a different actor that was going to play in the movie, and
he
Kubrick made
miraculously
him walk
died.
through the door. You guys heard that story, right, Brian?
No, what was that one?
So they made him walk through. They made this actor walk through the door 68 different times, and to the point where the actor's just like, "Fuck it, I'm done." And left. Kubrick he needs to, and that's the point. He needs everything perfect. He wants it his way. He needs it this way. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy too. 68 times, and the dude's like, "I'm done." Okay, so Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman signed an open-ended contracts that they agreed to work on the project until Stanley Kubrick released them from it. However long that turned out to be, which we know is 400 days. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman spent so long living in the UK due to the prolonged shoot that their 2 children acquired English accents. Isn't that nuts?
Kinda
That's
crazy.
cute.
Yeah. This film is notoriously known for secretly
Cheerio.
this
Sorry.
film is notoriously known for its secrecy during production, and secrecy even divided the 2 main stars, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. To exaggerate distrust between the fictional husband and wife, the director would direct each of them separately and forbid them from sharing notes. And one painful example, for just 1 minute of the final footage, where Alice makes love to a handsome naval officer for her imaginary affair that haunts Bill. Not only did he ask the pair to pose filthy for erotic positions, but the shoot took 6 days. So Nicole Kidman had to have fictional sex with this guy for
Kubrick
6
just
days.
fucking cucked Tom
God
Cruise.
damn
Yeah,
it.
Tom Cruise could know nothing about it. The
Mhm.
password Fidelio is Latin for faithful.
I was gonna ask, is there like a secret meaning behind that? Do you think?
Faithful.
It's
Faithful.
faithful, and then I think they broke it down, and one means hero, one part of the word or something like that. Which is cool because again, it's like faithful is a thing that's commonly running through this movie as a theme, the faithfulness to each other. But then it's cool too when you look at this secret society; they're all faithful to each other, and that they're all about to be at this giant fucking orgy. Nobody's exposing each other because they all have filth
Yeah,
on
you
each
just
other.
fucking
Which is
shut it.
also
Even
big-
Ziegler has a wife.
that's also one of the main reasons that they say that kids are involved in these type of things, because then it's like if someone ever wanted to speak out, they all have dirt, and magically all types of CP would pop up on their stuff.
Am I naive for thinking this? If I was Bill and I got asked what the second password was, I truthfully think I would have said that there isn't a second password.
Yeah, you
I
know,
would've said it
Mike,
too.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, there is no password, and then like, what? I would have been just as fucked.
So
Yeah.
real quick, I typed in that one scene when he arrives to the mansion, and it shows just like how Kubrick doesn't even have to tell you like these things. Like he just shows you it, and the viewer has to interpret it themselves. And
Yeah.
it goes list of mistakes from Tom Cruise infiltrating the ceremony. It says number 1, he showed up late. He's the only one to show up late. 2, that he shows up in a taxi. 3rd is having the taxi stay outside and giving information of like those, and like it degrades his credibility. And it's different if he were to like pay the guy to come in with him or do something like that, but he doesn't even know what he's showing up to. So why would he do something like that, And then giving the password out to the guys out front, like unprompted, like they didn't ask for it, nothing. Like he just said it. and he only puts a mask on when he arrives inside the house. He literally gets his coat and then puts his mask on.
Yeah.
And then I guess he was wearing a mask intended for a commoner. Like you could tell, I mean, all those guys had fancy
All those were
masks on,
custom
and he had,
made
like,
and shit.
yeah, and he had the shitty one from Under the Rainbow.
Yep.
And then wandering around the mansion like a fish, and not interacting with any of the guests and like partaking in any of the shit that's going on.
What was the
And,
analogy there that you were going to use?
What?
Fish.
I think it's a
Like
fish.
a
fish
fish
tank.
out of water.
Oh, fish out of water.
Yeah, like he's.
Thanks.
I thought I added that.
No.
And then obviously
He's roaming around
the
like
second,
a fish.
then the second password is
What?
the nail in the coffin. Like he just completely gives
Yeah.
himself up. And then I don't know how, like, I was on the edge of my seat when they told him to take the mask off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna see him butt ass naked.
Yeah.
I was hoping.
Take your clothes off.
Yeah, man. Tom Cruise, butt ass naked. Bro, the piano that constantly is played too, man.
It's creepy.
We didn't talk about that.
We're just thinking of fucking. Oh, actually, fun fact about the piano that's used in many occult type ritual things. I believe that one was linked to the Freemasons, or actually, no, I think it was linked to Aleister Crowley, who's apparently like the king of magic and shit like that. Aleister Crowley's a motherfucker that you guys should look into.
Well, Brian, hold on. You might like
I'm
this.
the king of magic.
You might like this last one, Brian. The orgy scene was filmed in the country home, which belongs to a banking family of Rothschild, and it was and it was built between 1852 to 1854. The mansion now belongs to a billionaire and convicted child rapist Simon Hellaby.
Yeah, he was definitely going to parties at that place before.
You see what I mean? Child
And
rapist.
you know what else is crazy too? The whole idea of that secret party and the mass thing. The Rothschilds did their own parties like that numerous times, and that's what Stanley Kubrick was basing it off of. And the Rothschilds, yeah, because that's their last name. I was gonna say children, that wouldn't make any sense. But those motherfuckers are like still in power, and like a lot of shit has gone
They still
down.
have money, don't they?
Yeah,
Like, very
because you
little-
want to
one of
get
those
their
risk,
fucking
man.
you want to get what's it called, the Rothschild's like checking bank account or whatever the fuck it is. What's it called? I'm blanking on it. I
Roth
forget.
IRA.
The Roth
Yeah,
IRA.
yeah, that's them. That's them.
I don't know the history behind that, but
Yeah.
Oh well,
I'm
so
gonna
for them,
not comment
the
on that.
only
I don't
thing
know.
I don't want to go into it.
let's ask my banker.
Well, you guys want to get into scores?
Scores.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad we watched this movie and
Aiden's
everyone
pick again,
enjoyed
we'll
it.
say it
Correct?
again.
No one hated it. Before
No.
we get into scores, is anyone like, wow, this movie fucking sucked?
No.
Me.
Me watching it, Aiden, I was like, okay, I see why Aiden picked it, but
Yeah,
No,
it
it's
texted
not.
I was
me
like,
right
I
away.
was like,
But no,
Like,
I
this
looked
dude's
up, I was
not
like,
bad.
whose recommendation was this? Scrolled up, Aiden. Okay,
But
that
no,
makes
but
sense.
you guys realize, like, all my favorite movies, like I said, Gone Girl, like all that stuff, like they're just fucking weird movies. Like
'Cause
it's
you're
not even
fucking
that.
weird
Like,
yourself, bro. What the
no,
fuck?
but that's
you...
great storytelling, bro. Like you want to watch
We
a
should
movie
do
where
Gone
you
Girl.
can't expect.
I
anything.
can't
You
watch that
can't-
movie again because I'll never enjoy it the way I did the first time.
Yeah,
we
but
gotta
I mean,
get a guest that hasn't
but
seen
you
it somehow.
can't like. I like movies where you literally have to question, like, what the fuck did I just watch? And that's a good
big
movie.
brain Aiden.
No, it's not even that. Anyone, you watched it, you didn't even know what the fuck was going on the entire time. You still
Oh,
go.
and you fucking and you
I
knew
mean, I'm
exactly
glad
what
you
was
watched
going on
it.
the first time.
Aiden worked at a tuck shop. He knows
you
what's going
fucking
on.
idiot.
Yeah, Mr. fucking IQ of a fucking 1,000
Oh,
over
man,
there.
Well, no,
that's
'cause
just
I
good.
text-
It's good storytelling, man.
So I texted
It
Brian.
is.
I texted Brian earlier because I knew how Brian is with his tinfoil hat that he would look into conspiracy theories for it. And I
Conspiracy
knew-
theory was a theory, or it's a
Fucking
word made up by the
cone.
CIA, so that way I can't be a free thinker.
Yeah, so I
Instead,
knew
now,
this kid. I knew this
now
kid
it's
knew
tinfoil
fucking
hat.
drinking the
everything.
Kool-Aid.
Conehead.
Yeah, I
Brian.
knew that kid knew everything. And then
Guys, you
Aiden-
could be
I
ignorant
figured
all
Aiden
you
watched
fucking
some
want.
YouTube videos. I figured Aiden watched some YouTube videos on it because he
My
recommended
water's
it.
contaminated.
It's
Yeah,
got
and then
fluoride in it,
Andrew
bro.
Mike,
Fluoride's
I-
making the frog gaze.
Andrew, Mike, I
Not
knew you
gays.
probably didn't know any of the crazy theories or anything like that. I don't know why, but I was like, I wonder. That's why I wanted you guys to go first, just to see what you guys thought of the
Bottled
movie.
water.
Yeah, I'll start off the reviews. I'm gonna let Brian finish us off today because he's got his.
It's Aiden's pick.
Yeah, but Brian's got his hat charged up. I want him to really finish it
Oh,
off
okay.
and do everything
His brain's
for us.
extra
He's
fried.
got the coat. He's got the
It's
coat on his
smoking right
head.
now.
Again, Mikey, you might be big, but what you make up by being big is an ignorance.
I'll
Your
give you
eyes
some-
are
Alright.
wide shut, young
I'll,
man.
I'll give you
Yeah,
something else
open
big,
your
Brian.
eyes,
How about
buddy.
that? Andrew, please let us know your review on this great movie.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of going middle of the road with my score. I'm curious to see where you guys fall.
50.
But no, not like that. I mean, middle of the road for good, not
Oh.
literally middle. But I really enjoyed this movie as one that when you start it, the first, I would say like 45 minutes, you're kind of confused about like, oh, what's this movie? Because, so I didn't even look at the genre or anything of this, but like what it was.
I couldn't even tell you what it was.
I know, but I had no idea. I didn't watch a trailer. You just said, watch this movie. It's strange. I said, okay. And I rented it and I was going to watch it. And the first like 45 minutes, you're really confused on what it's about. I'd say you get into like that hour and a half mark. And maybe that's when he's starting to go, maybe even a little bit before that, because it's a longer movie, but that's when he's going to get himself a costume and a mask and everything. And at that point and he's in the shop, and I think that was a scene where it's the two Asian men with the younger girl. And at that point I was like, what the fuck are we watching? I think I even texted like, hey, I don't know what this is about. And then he's going to the party and stuff. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And there's this ominous tone the whole time where you kind of feel uneasy. You're like, is this a thriller or something? But that's the thing. There's never the moment in this movie where something big happens. There's not, like, in my opinion, at least. I feel like there's not that, like, climatic, like, aha moment. The whole thing throughout is just strange. It's very uneasy, the whole movie you're sitting through. With that said, I did really like it, but I can't give it a super high score. I'm locking in at a 77 is what I'm giving this movie.
So, but no, I mean, like you basically just said everything that you can for this movie. Like the fact that you don't even know what the hell is going on, and then one weird thing happens, and then it just leads to the next, then the next, then the next, and it's just like I said, it's uneasy. But the thing that I like about this movie is that it's very realistic. Like I said, I mean, obviously none of us have been to a fucking brothel or whatever kind of cult sex party they had going on that I know of.
Josh.
But it's just the fact, like I said,
Sorry, I just got back from mine.
Kubrick's directing it, and everything that's on camera symbolizes something. It has a meaning. Like it's not there just because it's there. Like, and that's the thing is there's so much deep diving that there is to happen, but the fact that Kubrick doesn't even emphasize on anything. He never elaborates. He never goes and like, he'll never do an interview and be like, oh, well, this is like that. The bear in The Shining means, his dad was doing stuff to him when he was a kid, like shit like that. Like you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that's exactly how this movie is. And I mean, all of Kubrick's movies. And it's just a unique directorial style and storytelling. And I mean, that's just what makes it. It brings a lot more joy to, watching a film instead of just watching it and expecting everything, predicting everything as well. But like I said, this is my recommendation. It's not like 100 out of 100 movie. It's a good movie. But I feel confident giving it I'll go with 91. I enjoyed it. I mean, I would highly recommend it to everyone. I mean, yeah, it is weird that there's a bunch of naked chicks in it and shit like that. But I mean, it's
symbolism.
Yeah, it's symbolism, and it definitely exposes a higher power that we have. Like, obviously, in our, I guess you could say, political system, society, all that bullshit. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely exposing them, and those motherfuckers took out Stanley Kubrick. And I swear to God, man. We're gonna find out.
Aiden get his hands on him.
We're gonna find out who did it. Come see me.
Why?
Oh no, Aiden Bender's house was accidentally hit with a missile. There was a military
like, a nanobot flew into my brain and fucking popped me.
Donnie Thornberry.
But yeah, 91 out of 100. I'm glad I fucking recommended this one.
Yeah.
Well,
just pat yourself on the back one more time.
Yeah. Hey, Aiden, don't break your back blowing your own dick, buddy.
Yeah, he should. This dude's fucking. This guy watched Scary Movie 3. Fucking, he's about to go do a cipher at fucking warehouse.
If a rat's in a house, is it a mouse? But if a mouse is outside, it's a rat. Cheers. Okay. Anyway,
Maybe what my neck is red.
Bro,
What
I
does
don't
he
know.
say? I have been
asking
Wonder
to
Bread.
do this scary movie franchise for so long.
We're
We would
doing
have to-
the
What are you
sixth
doing?
one when that comes out.
We would have
No,
to do
can
the
we-
whole franchise because we
Yeah.
would blow through.
Come
Like, literally, it's just gonna be us saying our favorite scenes.
How'd you get in here?
Can we
Whatever.
please just like do like a bonus episode?
Hey, man, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah, pretty much my whole thought process when watching this film was what the fuck. It's like Aiden said, it's a different type of style of movie. And I do think it's a good change of pace. It's not following a process and it's not giving you definitive logic with what's happening. It's making you think. And I think it's different and it's needed sometimes in storytelling. And I think uh, it's unique, obviously. And it wasn't a bad movie by any means. It was just one of those movies that again you just kind of sit back on and say, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So
Even when you
so
finish it, you say, "What the fuck?"
yeah, I'm still saying, "What the fuck?" But with that said, I'm gonna give it an 80 out of 100.
Yeah, I'll keep mine kind of short. It's crazy to me that you can watch a movie like this and take it in so many different ways to the fact where, it's almost been 25 years soon, and like people are still kind of debating what's real, what's not, what their theories are, what's conspiracy theories. The fact that there's icebergs on this single movie and it's not like a crazy franchise, or it's not, about a murder or anything crazy like that. It's just this movie. It's People call it his swan song, Kubrick's song. I don't know if it really is, but I really, really love this
His
movie. I
what?
mean, his swan song. It basically his best work yet, his perfection, like his. But
Saying some weird ass
the
shit.
the fact that like I can watch it and believe most of it's in his head, and you guys can watch it and believe that's real, or Brian can believe that Kubrick got assassinated, whatever it is, like the fact that a movie can do that is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna give it a 93. I think it has a ton of rewatchability, and I will definitely rewatch this movie. And the fact, like, it's been sticking with me. I watched it for the first time yesterday, and it's been all I think about, or all I've been thinking about.
I will say
honestly.
there hasn't been a movie like this in a long time that's made me actually like stuck with me and made me
Well,
really
yeah,
think
because
about.
cinema has changed thanks to fucking Marvel. We don't get movies like this anymore.
Yeah.
It kind of
I heard
fucking
Kubrick's coming
blows.
back to do it. The new Kang
Yeah,
Dynasty.
they're gonna
Avengers
fucking
movie.
they're gonna AI his brain that's fucking locked away
Resurrect
at
him?
the CIA's
Hey
fucking
man,
hideout.
I'll sit on the high table that he's fucking. he
I
faked
don't
himself
think
out.
he's alive, but I think they saved his
No,
brain.
and this year I've used so many movies in the 90s, but we've been doing so many good movies recently, so it sucks to put it there. I mean, I was not planning on it before watching the movie. I was like, I kind of hope this movie isn't that great, but like, it was great. Pat Aiden on the back. Aiden did a good one for once.
Hey,
Whatever.
thanks, guys. I don't
Yeah, I'll
need
give you a
all the
little credit,
praise.
I guess. But yeah, it was really cool. Again, like I guess if I'm really happy I looked into it after the fact, because like if I didn't, it might have
It
gotten
makes it more
a little
fun though.
more
Like when you
fun. It
watch a
is,
movie
yeah.
like that and you can watch YouTube video, like I mean, you always see like tweets and stuff like, "Oh, you're I don't know." It was like some shit where it was like something. It was like, "Ladies, you're letting your boyfriend go look up the ending of Inception," like some shit like that. Like, fuck yeah, we're gonna look up Inception, man. Like movies like that, it gives you more meaning to it.
Yeah.
No, it's not just a one sit down watch. And you're like, all right, like that was shit.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right, I'm here to finish us off. You guys have said a lot of good things, great things, and I agree with all of it. It's crazy that this movie is going to turn 24 this year, and we're still sitting here peeling back layers of this fucking onion. Like to have a
I
whole
mean, this is our
subreddit
longest rewind, I
after.
think.
Yeah, no. Well, it's cool because there's all this side shit that I can go off about, and that's what I enjoy about this movie. Again, I had seen this movie, I think freshman year of college when I was like heavily into that. So this movie was always recommended. It's like, oh, it's like Stanley Kubrick's like nodding at that this is a thing and he's exposing it. And like the name of the title, Eyes Wide Shut, is us because we all have eyes, but we're ignoring the fact that all the elitists in the world are doing this shit. And it's super cool to take the movie and then to rewatch it now, what fucking 5 years later, 6 years later, and be like, holy shit, dude. Like as soon as I was watching it, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to the podcast I always listen to, Last Podcast on the Left. They cover all types of shit. And one of the biggest things that I love when they do is they talk about like conspiracy theories and they get into like all the stuff about Satanism and the government and like the way all that works and like magic and stuff like that. So a lot of the background I have kind of came from that and then just reading up on it. And to watch it this time around, it's fucking crazy how much symbolism Stanley Kubrick put into this film, how aesthetically pleasing this shit was fucking beautiful. Like the scene where he's sitting in the fucking bar when he's watching Nick play piano was just so sick. And even then, like to Josh's extent, like of what he was saying, like yeah, that could all be a dream. That's like what it could envision, like a capsule right there, because it is all rainbow in the background, and he could be imagining it. But to me, I think that was him like soaking it all in. Like he just wanted to get a beer. He didn't want to be at home, and now there's this opportunity to go to this party with the finest of women. And little does he know what he's about to fucking walk into. And then the cherry on top to this film, of course, Kubrick being murdered, and he literally wrote a character in that was murdered, but got blamed as an overdose, and Stanley Kubrick's one as a heart attack. Very funny. Uh, but all in all, this movie is just fucking great. If you haven't seen it, get out there and watch it. Like even if you listen to this first, still go and watch that shit. It's so good. And then if you really wanted to, like Josh said, there's icebergs to it. And then on top of that, there's icebergs not even about the movie, but about the shit that goes on at these parties. Like if any of it's real, and I honestly hope it isn't. This shit's fucked
For
up.
sure,
It is so fucked up. And then again, the difference is, so now we're watching this movie and we just saw what happened to Epstein. We saw Epstein get suicided. We saw Ghislaine Maxwell go to jail. We saw the list of apparently elitists not get fucking released, which is very crazy to see because again, now we literally are living eyes wide shut. We're watching in real time, but choosing to ignore it. And
Yeah.
for that reason, I think this movie for me, it's gonna get a fucking 91. It's not the perfect 100. But again, you could look at it. I love this movie because I can eat up the conspiracy aspect. But no, then the whole aspect is like the realest shit ever about his wife fantasizing about banging other men. Like, what do you even do? Like, you're married at that point. It's a human instinct to like think like that, you know? And to
Mhm.
tackle that, it's just fucking crazy. And then the back and forth of is it real? Is it not real? Me and Josh are sitting here going head to head, not even like mad at each other. It's just talking perspective. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, because I can 1,000% see it being real,
Yeah,
right? But
100%.
like,
I can see it going either way.
It was definitely his most realistic
Actually,
movie.
there was two things too I thought were things I wanted to bring up earlier that I didn't. Just real small things. Josh, to your idea of it being fake, there's a scene where he's going to the fridge to get a beer, and on the fridge, again, Stanley Kubrick, everything is placed for a reason. There's a picture of what is supposed to be maybe Santa Claus, because again, it's drawn by their little daughter, but it looks like Red Cloak. And if that's the case, then it would imply, Santa Claus isn't real, but he's real. And then that's how Red Cloak could work. Like, is Red Cloak real or is he not real? Like,
Yeah.
is he real to you? Is it in your head? Which
yeah,
is a fucking cool fact.
that is cool. I didn't know
And-
that.
yeah,
I didn't
and then
catch that.
what else is fucking cool? Nick, when he's at the bar, he finishes up. Normal closing time for bars is 2 around here. I think in New York it's like 3 or 4. But he was like, "Hey, I have another show to play," and he's like, "Oh, it's secret, whatever." But he says they usually get started around 2. Now we know Tom Cruise showed up late, so we know he showed up after 2. At 3 o'clock is when they claim, if you believe into it, it's like the witching hour. That's like when the spirits come into the world, and that's when they're most powerful. And that's actually, it's known that if people do rituals, they tend to do it around that time. So I thought that was a cool little factor. And again, it's like,
No
what
wonder
the
I
fuck?
always hear some weird creaks.
Yeah,
at 3
well, and that's
a.m. at
why
night.
that's why exactly though, but that's why people are like, dude, I woke up, it was fucking 3 a.m. and it's terrifying. Like even when I wake up at 3 a.m., I try to go back to sleep as fast as possible.
I
Fuck
didn't know
that.
that. I would have been
Yeah.
better off not knowing that.
Yeah, well now you
Brian,
know.
is this a Christmas movie?
It is.
Okay.
I was gonna say
was
that.
gonna
I
ask you.
can't believe I forgot about this fucking banger. Best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah, I was like, damn, this is a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
again, what did Kubrick know? I guess we'll never know. He died from a heart attack. I don't think anyone
Shame.
assassinated him.
Took him out.
You
But
just
But
wink.
imagine the movies that like say he did live and all that stuff didn't happen. Like
I don't think he would have done anything crazy, to be honest. I almost feel like he would have fucking made maybe 1 or 2 more movies and retired. He's already an old guy. He died
He
at
was 70.
77.
Yeah.
Or
I
was
thought he died
70?
at like 50 something.
No, he was like
No,
70
he was
something.
born in 1928 and
Yeah.
he died in 1999.
Well, still, we would have got 2 more great projects,
21?
and that kind of sucks because I mean, like I said, this is his last film, and it came
Yeah,
out
so
in
what,
'99.
71? 71?
What a film to end on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for
and
real.
again, and then that's what's
That's why they
It's
call
too
it the
realistic.
swan
well,
song.
that's what's crazy too. His brother is like mad at him because he's like, I don't even know how to interpret this. He goes, I have Stanley's notes, but I don't even know how to fucking interpret what the fuck he gave us. Like, I have no answers for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right.
That's
Thank
insane.
you everyone for listening to our crazy rants. We're doing
Yeah,
Kaleidoscope on
again,
Friday.
this was all conspiracy, guys. You can believe whatever you want. It's
Mhm.
just like I
So the
do.
guy behind Brian, you can
I'm
leave.
not gonna say I fucking believe in them, but I mean it is cool to hear about them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as elitists go, I think that shit's real for show.
No,
Yeah, you're gonna go
give credit where
senseless.
credit's due, man.
Bye, Brian.
Kubrick
It was
made
good
a
knowing you,
crazy
buddy.
ass movie.
Who is
Yeah,
Brian?
it
I
was
never
It's
met a
that
Brian.
Swan song.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm glad I recommended it to you guys.
Yeah, Josh,
Thank
thank
you,
you
Josh.
so much for the
No
rec,
problem.
dude.
Josh.
No problem. But
Josh,
yeah,
I
we're
know
back
this
Friday with Kaleidoscope. We're doing episode 2 of Last of Us. This episode was pretty good.
Shit, I gotta watch.
That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Kaleidoscope.
But all right, boys.
All right.
All right, boys.
Peace out. Don't
Yeah.
forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
We
And
got our cute
download on
faces
Apple
on
and Spotify.
every episode.
Yeah.
We do a YouTube with our faces on it.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yeah,
give us
and
a like,
honestly,
give us a
if you
comment.
wanted to, just like fall asleep, let it play in the background. We'll put you to sleep. Don't you worry.
You know,
Yeah, you can even
We'll-
turn the volume down and just
we'll
let it
take
run
care of
to
you.
crank our
Yeah,
hours
for
up.
real. Yeah, 100%.
It only takes how many hours, Josh? 68.
We need
Yeah.
to watch them all through.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
fine. You don't
64
even have to
hours
watch
watch
them
all
all. You
through.
can just watch whatever
We just
you
need
want.
65
want.
volunteers to
No.
do that.
Yeah. We also have a Discord. So if you want to hop in the Discord server, is that what they're called? I think we have the link on
Aiden's our
everything.
Discord kid.
Website.
Is Jenna Ortega on the new screen?
on the
Yes.
on the mod. So no weird shit in the Discord, but yeah, other than that, I mean,
You
that's
should
the
see
way
our
content
closed
goes. Reach
door
out.
chat though, where we put our masks on and become our
Yeah.
true selves.
All right.
Those
Put our-
dark and
put our,
twisted.
Quiet.
Put
Jeez,
our
quiet down.
cameras on and do
Aiden
some
really is our
chants.
little kitten in those
Yeah.
chats, huh?
Quiet down. Quiet down now.
All right, guys.
Can't say I haven't
yeah,
used the bathroom in a
Hey,
litter
if
box
I
before in
die
my
though
life.
by cause of heart attack in the next couple of weeks, it's because
We
of
don't know
this
why.
podcast right here.
Don't say that. Knock on wood, buddy.
Yeah.
You gotta be alive for
You're
Bear
no
season 2.
Kubrick, but all the shit.
Keep it, please, elitists. Keep Brian alive for Bear season 2.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. But
All
no,
right, boys.
again, emphasis. These are all conspiracy theories. I don't believe them.
Yes, take him with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's
All
a
right.
wink. He definitely believes it.
It was
Let's
fuck.
call it here.
All right,
All
boys.
right, goodbye.
See you next
We'll see you
episode.
guys.
See ya.
Peace, boys.
Love you.
Love you too.
Yes.